Yo, what's poppin' everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be talking about Charizard EX. Now, Charizard EX is one of the best decks in format, and it gets a little bit better with Paldean Fates. I'll cover that over in a little bit, but there's a handful of tech cards that are just more than Charmeleon that we might see in this deck as it goes forward. For this video, stay tuned for the deck list, strategy, gameplay, and more. If you like all that, give this video a like and subscribe, and let's jump into the deck list. So here we have it, the new Charizard list from Paldean Fates. It's a pretty standard list overall, but there are a few cards that I want to go over when it comes to the overall strategy of the list. Feel free to grab this deck list from the description, copy and paste it right into PTCG Live, and if you need any of the cards, hit up our sponsors at Kayfabe, Deck Out Gaming, Atlas Collectibles, and PTCGL Store. The strategy of this Charizard deck is not going to be very different from other Charizard decks. We still want to go from Charmander, Rare Candy, Charizard EX, and attack with Burning Darkness after building up some energies and play with Infernal Rain. We're going to continuously attack, and even if we fall behind a little bit, Burning Darkness goes from 180 all the way up to 330 damage without damage modifiers, depending on how many prize cards your opponent has taken. We have cards such as Pidgeot EX and Arven that allow us to search for whatever we're really looking for. So maybe that's the game-winning boss, a counter catcher, game-winning Lost Vacuum. Whatever we really need, we really have all the cards necessary to build up that Burning Darkness. Now, there are a few cards that I want to talk about that we've received from Paldean Fates that make this deck a little bit shiny new. The first one's going to be Charmeleon, and its ability allows us to reduce the effects of attacks that are hitting our board entirely. Sure, we might have Jirachi to block Sableye, but we don't always have Jirachi in play, and Charmeleon might save us a little bit. It's a slight tweak, and it might not even end up being the best Charmeleon, but for the sake of Paldean Fates, we're going to try it out. The big one that we've added in here is Gengar. Now, when I was scrolling through X, or previously known as Twitter, I saw Jake Earhart talking about Gengar being one of the best 101 techs, meaning just Gengar and Gastly, no Haunter in sight, that we've seen in the past 5 years. I thought about it and I was like, we could kind of cut the switch out of this deck, and it's not too hard to go Rare Candy into Gengar if we really want to. Gastly has free retreats, and Gengar allows you to have mobility to have a free switch per turn. It gives us a little bit more options than we currently have, and I don't think it's necessarily going to hurt the consistency of the deck too much. So, in order from a traditional list to make room for it, I cut the switch, and I think I cut a stadium card to figure it out. Everything else from the deck is going to be based off of Caleb Rogerson's finalist list from Charlotte, and I want to see how some of the gameplay goes. So let's see how this new deck works against other decks. Again, Gengar is really only going to be great against the Snorlax matchup, otherwise it's going to be a pretty standard deck. So we'll see how it plays out. So our opponent's flipping the coin. Hopefully we get to go second. Looks like we won the coin flip. The reason why we want to go second is so that we're able to get off Battle VIP Pass a little bit more easily by being able to play Arven. Gives us a bit of more of a robust setup. And hopefully we get a decent hand here. Yeah, starting with Mew, having Charmander, having Battle VIP Pass, having everything that we have here. It's looking fantastic. And again, we're probably not going to go for Gastly right away. Just because it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense in every single matchup. So if you're playing against a Gengar matchup, I could totally see it being good. And Charmeleon's just a slight change with that Flare Veil ability, but it's not going to change too much. Looks like we're probably playing against a Charizard mirror that did not get out Charizards. So let's use Battle VIP Pass to look through our deck first. And I think what we want to be grabbing here is probably just a Rotom. And I'm going to be grabbing a Charmander, since we already have a Charmander in our hands. I still want to make sure that we have Pidgey in this deck, and feel free with Paldean Fates to make your deck as bling as possible. I mean, we have those new fantastic Charizard EX. What I think I'm going to do here is just go maybe I'll see what Mysterious Tail brings first, before I decide to waste an Arven here. Because I don't know entirely what I want to grab. Or maybe we could waste it first. I think we'll go Arven first, guarantee the Battle VIP Pass. We will grab a Forest Steel Stone, so we can slap that onto the Rotom. And let's go for Battle VIP Pass, searching our deck for a Pidgey. And there's not really much else that I'm looking for. Maybe in this case, I'm actually okay grabbing a Gengar, so I have some mobility with that Mew. I could see that being quite good. So I don't hate that. Free retreat, really not upset about it. And I'm not too worried that we're going to need to put down Lumineon. I don't think that we're going to be in a tough situation. So yeah, maybe I'm okay putting Gengar down in this potential matchup. I'm going to put down another Charmander so we have that option. And let's make sure that we're able to use Mysterious Tail so we're able to grab a card. At this point, I'm not using research, so let's just grab a card from the deck to thin it out. I'm going to put Forest Seal Stone down. I'm not too worried about it, and I do want to just draw 3 cards here with Instant Charge. So this gets us set up for next turn, whereas we have Rare Candy Pidgeot, Rare Candy Charizard, and the way that we want to be going after things is maybe we want to go after one of our opponent's Pokemon. We'll see how it goes. They're just going to start off by wasting our Forest Seal Stone. That kind of sucks. And maybe if we held on to it, that's cool. I don't know if it necessarily matters too much. They would have Iono'd us anyways, so I'm okay with it. Our hand was really good, so I'm hoping we get another really good hand. Yeah, this is fantastic. We can go Ultra Ball. We can get all set up. We are all good there. And if they only get out 1 Charmander at a time, we can definitely knock out that 1 Charmander at a time. If they get multiple Charmanders, that's something else we got to watch out for. Also, Technical Machine De-Evolution is something that we got to watch out for. So I think that is kind of our game plan. We either want to knock out Charmanders or attack into their Charmanders and eventually devolve them all, leaving our opponent in a spot where they just don't have anything. And they're surging hard here. I'm not sure entirely what they're going to grab. But as you can see, we're really not hurting on the consistency portion. This just has free retreat. You probably don't even need it in this matchup because it wouldn't be too bad having a spot for the Gengar. But okay, so our opponent's just gonna go Call for Family, probably just grabbing Charmander. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Charmander. There we go. There we go. Let's see what we get going on here. So there's the Charizard, and I think what I want to go for here is actually just... I want to try to get the Pidgeot, but let's try to see if there's something that we can just grab from this Mysterious Tail. I don't think we're necessarily falling behind when it comes to prize cards, so I'm going to grab the Counter Catcher. Actually, maybe we could, so I'm going to grab the Ultra Ball because I'm not too worried about that. Let's go Ultra Ball, discards, Ultra Ball, and I don't really care about Lumineon. We only have 6 energies, so we want to make sure that we're like kind of keeping those in check. Let's go for Pidgeot. And the reason why we're going to go Pidgeot first is we can go Rare Candy here, Pidgeot. We are able to search our deck for something here. So let's go search our deck for Rare Candy. We're going to go Rare Candy. We're going to get this set up. And if we had something else, I'd like to get the Gengar out just so that we're not reducing as much energies. But let's grab all 3 so we can thin this out of our deck. Let's go 1, 2, 3 goes to the active. I'm going to attach an energy here to the Charmander. And let's go Boss's Orders brings up their Charmander. And let's go after these Charmanders one by one. So retreating, and we're going to take the first prize card here. So as long as we're going after their Charmanders or we're attacking into a Charizard, we could put our opponent in a situation where they're getting hit with a Technical Machine De-Evolution. Our hand's not great, but we still have Quick Search that allows us to search out things that we're looking for. So let's see how it all plays out here. So there's Rare Candy. Okay, so they got Rare Candy, Pidgeot. So depending on what they have in their hands, they might just go for like a Research or something like that. Unless they just have like Zard or Rare Candy in their hand, or Arven, or there's a handful of other cards that they can have. But if they don't attack us with Charizard this turn, yeah, there's the Research. That's also good that their other Vacuum's gone. Everything else that we have is going to stick into play. They'll have to have Rare Candy Zard out of that, or the pieces necessary. And it looks like they were getting there. There's the Infernal Rain. They're definitely going to attack into us. This is a case where I'm not pressed if we attack into their Charizard again. I'm okay with it. Okay, so they're just going to hit us for 120. That's fine. We also could have attacked with Pidgeot last turn. Solid strat from our opponents. 210, yeah. So let's go ahead here, and I don't really, like, I could attack into the Charizard, but they'll have to force their Charizard up at some point. Ideally, what I want to do here is go for Iono and see what I get off Pidgeot, because I don't want to necessarily rare candy every single one of my Pokemon. Just in case they go for a Technical Machine Devolution mid-game, this Level Ball is able to grab the new Charmeleon, which is fantastic. And I think what I want to do is actually just knock this Rotom V off from play. So let's go for Quick Search. Search our deck for... Actually, maybe I don't want to go for that right now. Maybe I'll go for, like, Rare Candy. Like, maybe I'll go for Gengar. Because next turn I might be able to get all the cards that I'm looking for. Actually, I think that still might be a little bit risky because I might just want to go for a Research next turn. So let's just actually grab the Research while we can. I want to make sure that Technical Machine Devolution is still an option. Yep, so we'll be able to hit into this. And yeah, let's go for Burning Darkness for 180. So next turn we have our supporter. We'll probably end up grabbing a Charizard or something else. We don't need to go with Mew every single turn, but it would be nice if we had it with... there's some synergy between the Gengar line and the Mew line. So it should be pretty easy. So there's Charmander, sweet. And we'll see if they're able to use the Technical Machine, like, the Evolution route. Like, at this point, it looks like they're going to have to attack us with their Charizard on their side. And win or loss, I think, like, we're playing against a Charizard mirror. Anything could really happen. I don't think the Gengar is necessarily helping nor hurting in this matchup. There's a lot of things that just, like, aren't going to necessarily matter. Is there Counter Catcher? Okay, so for them to go after this is completely fine. I'd much rather them knock out the Rotom than not, because we could put our opponent in that position where we kind of go all Technical Machines across the board. So this is completely fine. And we'll send a Pidgeot because Pidgeot has free retreat, because I can't guarantee that we're going to get Gengar outs this upcoming turn. And we're just waiting. I think it's really funny how things like Gastly, it's a card that I just wouldn't have owned. And now I'm going to have to go to my local card store and try to pick them up, because they're just a little bit more difficult to find than Charizards that are always behind the counter. Let's go Pidgeot EX here, just because it has free retreats. Okay, you want to know what? I'm not upset getting another Charizard EX here. I don't want to attack with Radzard. Radzard's still going to take 3. So I only want to use Radzard when our opponent gets down to 2 or less prize cards. We're going to grab out the 1 energy, because I still want to keep 1 in the deck. So there's our other energy. Let's go with... our opponent's still getting the knockout here if they do 210. So I'd like to attack with the other Charizard. Probably going to end up putting Radzard down on the bench. Probably going to end up putting Choice Belt onto Radzard, just in case. I don't see a world where it matters because our opponent's predominantly playing EX Pokemon. I don't think Lost Vacuum is going to help us because that's just discarding something. So let's go research and see what we can get over here. We did get Counter Catcher and we did get De-Evolution, so that's kind of nice. We have De-Evolution for following turns. Our opponent could be in a rough spot, but I'd like to attack them first and really put them in a tough situation. I might just go for the Gengar here, to be honest. So we have the free option of retreating, and we still have a Rare Candy after that if our opponent does decide to devolve us for some reason. So let's go Rare Candy here into Gengar. So we did get the Gengar out. So you can see once during a turn, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So what we'll do here is we'll retreat here with our Mew. We're going to use Mysterious Tail, and we're going to grab an extra card. Might as well just grab a Super Rod. There's nothing here that I'm really too worried about. And we'll use our Gengar's Night Gate ability to send up this Charizard. So we get a free Mew basically per turn once our opponent knocks something out. And it's just like having extra switch outs is nice. Again, I cannot stress this enough that this is not always going to be the matchup. But like let's say late game our opponent is struggling and they go Iono, Counter Catcher, Radiant, like Counter Catcher, Radiant Charizard, Iono. Well, I always have the out here with Gengar. Like, we cannot necessarily get trapped, which is super nice. It's one less thing that we have to worry about. We're not attacking with Gengar, but we just have we have a free switch per turn. Not bad. That's really all it is. Allows us to have a relative auto win against what's it called? A Gardevoir deck, or not a Gardevoir deck, a Snorlax deck. My brain's melting. But it does end up working out pretty well here. And since our opponent's gone through 3, I think what they can do if they decide to go for an attack, like let's say if they bring up this Charizard EX this turn, I can attach an energy to one of our Pokemon, like Radiant Charizard, and de-evolve all of our opponent's Pokemon after Ionoing them. I think that's going to be a tough spot for our opponent to deal with. I might actually get rid of that choice belts. Yeah, I think they're probably going to end up going for a boss to go after this Charizard EX. So we'll take 2 prize cards, putting ourselves down to 3. Our opponent's going to be down at 1 prize card. And they also have to have Rare Candy at that point because they've played 3. So we'll see how our opponent plays this out. I feel kind of okay right now. Or at least as okay as possible. I would not be surprised. I don't think our opponent's played a supporter this turn. So I think it's going to be boss on the Charizard EX for 210 damage. It's like clockwork up in here. I know exactly what's going on. That's fine. That's completely fine. So here's what I want to do. Since we have the Gengar in play, we get the free Mew up active. I think that sounds pretty cool. The way that I want to make the situation happen is to go Counter Catcher to bring up our opponent's Manaphy. I think I like that the most. We're about to take 2 prize cards here, and we can always search for a boss next turn. I want to go for Lost Vacuum on probably Artazon. I'm just going to take away the Choice Belt. I think me putting Choice Belt down, I got a little bit greedy. Since our opponent's down at 2, I just wanted to the Fire Energy there. We're going to go ahead and do this. And since our opponent's, I do want to get a few energies back, so let's go ahead, go Charmander Energy. I am going to play Iono, so our opponent's going to be left with a minimal hands. And we're going to have a pretty big hand. And I find this is how I play a lot of how the matchup goes. Like, I think that this is pretty solid. I think all I want to go for is quick search here. Searching my deck for a Charmander. Just in case anything, like they damage this other Charizard. And we're also going to use Mysterious Tail so we can have some mobility here. Let's just grab some more stuff out of the deck. And then I'm going to go ahead and go Night Gate, send up Radzard. There's also some synergy here with the Night Gate and the Radzard not being able to attack the next turn. Let's go ahead and use Devolution. At this point, I don't care about anything else that I have on my bench. There's nothing to reduce. So let's de-evolve. We're going to draw a prize card off the Pidgey, a prize card off the Charmander, and our opponent's also going to have their last Rare Candy in play and find a boss's order. So there's no more Pidgeot for our opponent this game. So they could get Iono'd. They'd basically at this hand, and their 2-card handoff Iono plus Charizard, Pidgeot have a Charmander and have a boss and a Rare Candy. They need a lot is what I'm trying to say. So the de-evolution could be sick. And shout out to our opponent for finding Arven, like, whatever. This is their last Rare Candy of the game if they did not prize it. And since they can't play boss here, they can't attack the Radiant Charizard because otherwise we just attack their Charmander and they lose the game because we're doing the full 330. And we're hitting them with an Iono and they don't have Pidgeot in play. So there's some things to consider here. And maybe I'll go Collapsed Stadium on our own Pidgeot just so it's not a big deal, but we will figure out things as we go along. If we look at our opponent's discard pile, this is why we play Technical Machine De-Evolution. While I was looking through there, I actually missed to see what our opponent grabbed. If they don't go Rare Candy Zard, then we just go ahead and knock out Charmander. Because we have access to boss, and if we didn't have boss in our hand, then we would use Quick Search for boss. That's why they need another Charmander. So if they don't have it, they effectively will lose the game. So if they go for instant charge here, we're just going to bring up Charmander, then they don't have an attacker. Okay. There's their Forest Seal Stone. We'll see if they pull the trigger on it. And we should have boss in order to win this game. Yeah. Okay, so they are going for Forest Seal Stone. Let's see how this plays out. They can't play boss because they already played Arven. Our opponent can't play Counter Catcher because we're behind. So as long as we do not feed them a 2 prize card Pokemon that they could potentially knock out, we should be pretty good here to knock out whatever our opponent has. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it's really just a waiting game on what our opponent can do here. And if they grab Rare Candy Charizard, and, like, again, we'll just attack into them first. Not sure what they grabbed there. But you can see that it's a little bit of a struggle. Not the perfect Technical Machine Devolution, but sometimes they just don't respond off the first one. It's kind of when you rock sand. Technical Machine Devolution could be a lie. So there's their last Rare Candy. They're also down... they probably only have 1 energy. So if they don't have an energy in their hand, which they likely don't, they could be in a tough spot. Have we already used Counter Catcher? We have used Counter Catcher. So let's go ahead and go... I think what I want to do here... We can't just like hope that our opponent doesn't have boss. So I think what I want to do here is just go boss, bring up their Charizard. And I want to Iono them next turn if they get a knockout. They either Iono us, and that's fine. I also just don't want this Charizard EX to potentially be a problem. So let's go for Quick Search here. I'm probably going to put my own Pidgeot away. They can't hit into us and de-evolve us because I think the one that I have in play is the one with the Charmeleon, so we could probably just go ahead and grab Rare Candy here and just get our other Charizard set up. Maybe we could go for, I mean, if we didn't go for, I guess we played boss, so we can't play boss in Iono. I'm fine just to go Collapsed Stadium here. I do not want to mess around with Pidgeot because they could have a Vitality Band. Unlikely. Like, there's a few things that they could do. I mean, if we go based off their list, there's nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to their list. So if I just go... I don't know if I want to put a Collapse down. It's tough because if they get a Vitality boss, they're pretty good. They've already used 2 boss. You want to know what? I'm going to YOLO it, and if we don't get it, we don't get there. I'm going to go with Combustion Blast, final answer. Vitality Band has been getting cut out of these lists. They're not behind when it comes to Defiance. This is not affected by Choice Belts. They've already played 2 bosses' orders. So they literally have to have Vitality Band bosses' orders and have an outdated Charizard list. And if I lose to an outdated Charizard list because I made a proper decision, so be it. It can sometimes be tough. And you're going to be stuck in the moment if there's no open list, right? So that's really where its tough part's going to be. Okay, so here's their Charmander. And they can't evolve the Charmander into a Charizard. So if we take out their Charizard, we win the game. They can't have another Rare Candy unless they play Silene and they don't have a way to make that happen. Like, let's be real, it's not happening. This is the last Charizard they're getting out this game. They could get out Radzard or something like that, but I think our best bet here after we get set up is to just go ahead and play Iono on our opponents. That's fine. If they don't have the energies there, I think their energies are also gone. They could have Super Rod to put them back, but they can't Rare Candy this Charmander. So as long as we have another boss and we just knock out this Mew, we should be chilling. And this Gengar is going to allow us to switch with the Pidgeot and free pivot back into Radiant Charizard so we're able to attack again. So I'm glad we didn't take out the Pidgeot EX. And I just want to clear a couple things from our deck because it doesn't matter. So let's go ahead grab this, double check. We still have Boss, we still have Super Rod, that's cool. So let's go ahead and Iono first because I don't see that there being an issue with that. And let's go Nightgate with Pidgeot. I don't think there's anything that we need to quick search for. I'm going to retreat back into Radiant Charizard, and I'm going to attack with Combustion Blast. Our opponent, again, it might look a little bit scary because they have a Charizard, and we're putting it to the point where they actually just can knock out the Pidgeot with a damage modifier. Again, our opponent has burned through 4 rare candies because of Technical Machine Devolution, and now we should be pretty safe. It looks like they're just going to send up Manaphy. It doesn't matter because we have Boss's orders. They could Iono us. We have Gengar Boss's order Charizard that swings for 300 damage. Or there's also Rotom V on the bench. We are good to finish this game off with Radiant Charizard alone. And if they play Roxanne, also a card that I would not expect in their list, they could attack our Radiant Charizard with their Radiant Charizard. But we are all good. And it doesn't matter if we drew this boss at all because we can just search it out with Quick Search Pidgeot. So we kind of have an ideal board state here. And our opponent can't do anything. So even though our opponent did take a strong lead, had a lot of really good cards going on, we were able to outsmart and beat our opponent just through pure gameplay and strategy alone. Gengar has certainly been way nicer than I expected it to be. And we're just chilling. They're probably just going to go for instant charge, and that's the dub for us. So using Radzard every turn is certainly better than expected, especially with Gengar. Not that I think it mattered too much, but it has been a little bit nice. I think there's a lot of synergy with the Gengar and... oh, they do play Vitality Band. Wow. We were playing with danger here with our opponent with their list. It's a little bit older than expected, but they're also just out of energies right now. That's fine. So we're going to go ahead here and go Gengar, Nightgate, send up Pidgeot. We're going to go Boss's orders, bring up this Charizard, and then we're going to retreat, attack with our own Charizard, hit them with the Burning Darkness. Our opponent conceded, but we still got that dub, going down to 0 prize cards. So as you can see, Gengar put in a little bit more kind of effort and strategy than I originally thought, and I think it's kind of strong. So maybe this is the new way to be playing it. We might see this as early as Dortmund Regionals when the set's fully released as Paldean Fates, or Vancouver Regionals. I think those are the next 2 major events and the only 2 that we have with Paldean Fates, at least in our non-Asia gameplay, because we don't follow the same set releases as Asia. So I mean, Europe, North America, South America, there's a lot of cool things going on, and I think that this is a really cool deck. So check it out, check out the description, and I appreciate everyone watching. If you want more great content, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/TSSwin. That being said, I'll catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. take it easy.